podcast for Layup Boston as of right now. Take a look at this here before we even get to the footage of all these missed layups. PG1. In just 83 career games, Caitlin Clark has become the fastest player in WNBA history and faster than any NBA player in the last 30 years to reach 700 assists. WNBA or NBA, it don't matter. It's only one GOAT, and that GOAT's name is
700 assists in 83 career games. That number sounds ridiculous by itself. But once you see what was left on the floor in this game, the record starts looking even crazier.
It was really ridiculous, guys. Let's get into it. 10 Caitlin Clark assists blown on layups. The girl could have had a 29 and 20 assist game if they could just make some damn layups. Really think about it. Come on. Here's Caitlin Clark throwing it up to Sophie Cunningham. Smoked it. I mean, come on. You got to make it. You got to make it. There's no, look, nobody's here with you.
And that is where this story gets interesting. Because we are not talking about contested heaves with the shot clock dying. We are talking about Caitlin Clark putting the ball exactly where a teammate needs it. The defense already beaten, and a routine finish being the only thing standing between the pass and another assist. Keep that distinction in mind, because later we are getting to the actual hand-tracked chart of Clark's potential assists. And that chart changes the conversation from her teammates missed a couple easy ones to a much bigger question about what Indiana's offense could look like if they simply finished the opportunities Clark is already creating.
There's nobody in sight. You have to make layups. This goes for everybody. I'm not picking and choosing. This goes for everybody. All of y'all are getting paid hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. These type of layups you have to make. I don't care if you're Sophie Cunningham. I don't care who you are. Make your damn layups. This is ridiculous. Smoked it. All right, Lexie Hull gets in the lane.
Sophie Cunningham gets a clean look. Lexie Hull gets into the lane. These are the possessions that make a point guard lose her mind, because there is nothing more she can do after the pass arrives. And nobody should turn this into one player being singled out. The entire reason the footage matters is because the misses were spread across the roster. Guards, wings, posts, starters, bench players. When that keeps happening in one night, it stops being an individual mistake and starts becoming a team-level issue. Indiana still won, which makes it easy to laugh this off. But winning can hide problems. Against a stronger opponent, 10 empty finishes around the rim can be the difference between controlling a game and spending the fourth quarter trying to climb out of a hole.
Make layups. There was 10 of these guys. We combing through the footage. We get into the chart after. Like, they just missing layups left and right. Caitlin Clark, backdoor to Kelsey Mitchell. Smokes a layup. I mean, come on. Come on. Then you're going to force it up and get it blocked. Caitlin Clark, backdoor to Kelsey. Missed the layup. Another one. This is all in the first half, people.
That backdoor pass to Kelsey Mitchell is the exact type of play that explains Clark's value beyond her scoring. She reads the defender leaning the wrong direction. Mitchell cuts. The ball arrives on time, and the defense is effectively finished. Then the layup doesn't fall. That matters because people evaluate point guards with the box score. They see 10 assists and say, great passing night. What the box score cannot tell you is whether 10 assists represented almost everything that player created, or only a portion of it. For Clark in this game, it was clearly the second one, and this is the dangerous part for opposing teams. If Indiana's offense is generating shots this clean, while Clark is also scoring 29 points herself, then the ceiling is much higher than the final score suggests. The Fever scored 98. They did that while repeatedly failing to convert chances at the rim that were already manufactured for them. Think about that. The offensive process was creating more than the scoreboard captured. That is usually a good problem to have in August. It becomes a terrible problem if it follows you into elimination basketball.
Like, come on, bro. Like, the girl had 10 assists with y'all smoking assists left and right. Handoff to Makayla Timpson. Makayla Timpson in the lane. Easy. Smoked it. Caitlin Clark. Now this. I'm gonna stop this here.
Now add Michaela Timpson to the list. Again, Clark turns penetration into an interior opportunity, and again the possession produces no assist because the shot does not drop. This is why assist totals can be such an incomplete way to discuss playmaking. An assist is partially dependent on somebody else completing the possession. The passer controls the read, the timing, and the delivery. The receiver controls whether the play becomes 2 points. Clark can manipulate 2 defenders, hit the roller perfectly, and create a shot from 3 feet. If that shot misses, the stat sheet acts like the pass never happened. And Indiana has another layer to this. Clark's passing gravity is already affecting defenders before she touches the lane. Teams know she can throw cross-court passes, hit cutters behind help defenders, and find bigs as soon as a second defender commits. That forces rotations earlier than normal, but none of that matters if the final touch around the rim is unreliable. That is why these misses should concern Stephanie White much more than a cold 3-point shooting night. 3-point variance happens. Players are going to go 1 for 7 or 2 for 8 sometimes. You live with it. Layups created by clean offensive execution are the shots you build an offense hoping to get. When you get them, you have to cash them in.
Aaliyah Boston, this is part of the reason why I don't want to see you on do no podcast episodes until you learn how to do a drop step lay-in. Until you learn how to make layups. Stephanie White has really messed you up to the point where you focus on becoming such a hub and being a 3-point spot-up shooter. You are about to get a 5'8" Arike Ogunbowale switched on you. You are 6'5" and you can't make a layup over her. Take a look at this crap. Caitlin Clark gets it to Aaliyah Boston. You got Arike on you and you smoked it. Like, dude, come on.
Aaliyah Boston's possessions deserve a separate conversation because the matchup makes those misses harder to ignore. On the play you just watched, Arike Ogunbowale is switched onto Boston. That is the matchup Indiana should want. Boston has the size advantage, she's close to the rim, and Clark gets her the basketball. This is where the Fever need Boston to punish the switch instead of merely participating in the offense. Boston has become an important playmaking hub for Indiana. She can facilitate, make decisions from the elbow, and keep the ball moving. Those skills absolutely have value. But the danger is allowing all of that versatility to pull her too far away from one of the simplest advantages she possesses. She is a powerful interior player who can force smaller defenders to survive her near the basket. When a guard gets switched onto a post, that possession should feel uncomfortable for the defense. If the defense walks away from it, Indiana did them a favor. And this is bigger than whether Boston missed one shot. Playoff defenses hunt weaknesses. They switch selectively. They change coverages. They force you to prove which matchup actually scares them. If Indiana cannot consistently punish a small defender being left on Boston, opponents will become more aggressive about switching actions involving Clark because the consequence is reduced. That is the chain reaction. Finishing at the rim is not just about 2 points. It determines what coverages the defense believes it can survive.
Like, come on, bruh. Caitlin Clark dropping it off to Aaliyah Boston again. Can't finish. Caitlin Clark gets it to Michaela Timpson. Can't finish. Caitlin Clark throwing it up to Kelsey Mitchell. Can't finish. I mean, bro, just somebody got to want to make a layup. Somebody want to finish, please. We have 10 of these.
Now watch the pattern build. Boston gets another chance. Timpson gets one. Mitchell gets one. Different players, same ending. This is where I push back on the idea that criticizing the misses means disrespecting the roster. No. If anything, the reason these possessions are frustrating is because Indiana has enough talent to be better than this. Kelsey Mitchell is one of the most dangerous scorers on the team. Boston has already proven she can be an elite interior presence. Hull brings energy, cutting, and defense. Cunningham can attack gaps. Timpson gives them athleticism around the rim. These are not players who are incapable of finishing. So when this many opportunities disappear in one night, the answer is not, well, that's just who they are. The answer is that the standard has to rise. And the timing matters. You can survive this in a regular season win against Dallas. You probably cannot survive it deep in the postseason, when every possession becomes more valuable, the pace slows down, and teams have multiple games to study exactly where your offense breaks. A missed layup in November is annoying. A missed layup in a playoff fourth quarter can end your season. That is why the Fever cannot look at the 98 points and assume the offense did its job. The result was good. The process still had an obvious leak. And now we get to the piece that really exposes how large that leak was.
You're supposed to make the layups, man. Y'all did so bad. Y'all did such a terrible job. They done made a chart. Who made this chart, man? Hold on, let me go back, man. Okay, here, who, this him? Okay, Crash Out King made a chart. Y'all wanted it, so here it is. Hand track Caitlin Clark potential assist data versus the Wings. A shout out to who? Crash Out King for this. Y'all doing so bad, they done made a damn chart. Charting y'all's blown layups, blown assists. They done made a damn.
Somebody actually hand-tracked the potential assists. That alone tells you how noticeable this became. The chart credited to Crash Out King attempts to record Clark's potential assists and whether each opportunity turned into a made basket. This is not an official WNBA statistic, so it should be treated for what it is, a fan-created hand-tracked breakdown. But paired with the game footage, it gives us a useful way to organize what our eyes are already showing us, and look at the names appearing over and over. Mitchell, Boston, Hull, Timpson, Cunningham. This is not Clark force-feeding one struggling teammate. She is distributing the ball across the offense, getting multiple players opportunities, and the finishing problem follows the passes. That point is critical, because one of the debates around Clark has always been whether her huge statistical impact comes from dominating possession, or whether she is actually improving the quality of shots around her. This game is strong evidence for the second argument. When a point guard repeatedly creates shots at the rim, you cannot blame her because somebody else fails to convert them. In fact, those misses can reveal more about the quality of the playmaking than the assist total itself. A bad passer does not accumulate a pile of blown layup assists. A bad passer accumulates turnovers, late passes, deflections, and possessions where teammates never get clean looks. Clark was creating the clean looks. Indiana was leaving the reward behind.
Caitlin Clark potential assist table. All right. So here's the potential assist, and then if there's a check mark, that's an actual assist. So we just gonna do the unchecked because that's all the misses. Okay. Kelsey Mitchell blew one, then AB blew one, then Lexie blew one, then Aaliyah Boston blew another one, then Aaliyah Boston blew another one. So that's three already. Aaliyah Boston, you smoked three of the assists in the first half. You just was missing layups left and right like it wasn't nobody's business. I mean, damn. Michaela Timpson.
And this is the moment where the numbers get uncomfortable. The hand-tracked list showed multiple missed opportunities from Boston in the first half alone, along with misses from Mitchell, Hull, and Timpson. Again, we have to be precise. A potential assist is not automatically an assist that was stolen from Clark. Basketball does not work like that. Sometimes a player catches a pass and still has work to do. Sometimes the defense recovers. Sometimes the angle is difficult. Sometimes a shot that looks easy on television is harder at full speed. But that nuance does not erase what the footage shows. A meaningful number of these were makeable attempts. That is the difference. And once you establish that, Clark's 10-assist final stat line becomes less important than the broader offensive picture. She reached double-digit assists despite losing several additional opportunities. Now consider what that means for her scoring. Clark finished with 29 points and 10 assists. When she has the ball, the defense already has a brutal choice. Stay attached to shooters and cutters and she can attack. Load up on her drives and she can distribute. But if Indiana starts finishing these interior passes at a higher rate, the defense gets punished regardless of which choice it makes. That is when an elite playmaker becomes an offensive system by herself. Not because she literally does everything, but because every defensive answer creates a new offensive question. Trap her, she finds the release. Switch, she attacks the matchup or feeds the post. Help from the corner, she skips it out. Stay home, she gets downhill. The only escape for the defense is hoping Indiana fails to complete the possession. And in this game, that escape hatch was open far too often.
And blew one. Then Sophie blew one. Lexie's was so bad though. Lexie layup almost went to the damn hot dog stand. It was bad. It went off the backboard so hard. That was ridiculous. Okay, KK blows an assist. Sophie blows an assist. Kelsey Mitchell blew one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Then Kelsey blew another one. Hold on. I didn't even know it was this damn bad. Kelsey? Damn. How many times is Kelsey? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kelsey, you blew 7 of them. You blew 7.
Now we get to the name that jumps off the chart, Kelsey Mitchell. The creator of the breakdown counted 7 missed potential assists involving Mitchell across the tracked possessions. That does not mean Mitchell had a terrible game. Far from it. She scored 23 points. She is still one of Indiana's most important offensive weapons, and that context actually makes the missed opportunities more interesting, because this is not some non-scorer being asked to do something outside her game. Mitchell can finish. She can score at all 3 levels, which means Indiana should see these misses as correctable rather than structural, and that is a huge difference. If the problem were that Clark was creating shots for players who simply could not score, then management would have a roster problem. If the problem is capable scorers failing to convert good opportunities for one night, then coaching, repetition, and execution can fix it. But there is another wrinkle here. Mitchell's scoring value makes it tempting to think every possession should end with her attacking aggressively. Sometimes that is exactly what Indiana needs, but when Clark has already manipulated the defense and delivered the ball into a high-value finishing position, the next decision has to be simple: finish the advantage. Do not turn an easy scoring chance into a harder one by rushing, overcomplicating the footwork, or trying to create something that is not necessary. Great offenses are not just about creating advantages. They are about recognizing when the advantage is already complete.
Of them. All I'm saying is this, man. This is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is like 13 blown assists, bro. Caitlin Clark could have had a 20 assist game. And now I think like 2 or 3 of these is including like 3-pointers or jump shots. I know it was 10 layups, assists blown on layups, period.
13 potential assists were counted as misses on that chart, with the original commentary estimating roughly 10 of those opportunities came on layups and the others on jumpers or threes. And this is the payoff. The real story is not, Caitlin Clark should have had 20 assists. That is fun to say, and if more shots drop, sure, the total could have exploded, but treating 20 assists as guaranteed would be too simplistic. The bigger story is that Indiana's offensive ceiling is being hidden by its own finishing. That is what should get the attention of the Fever coaching staff, because Clark has already solved one of the hardest problems in basketball, creating advantages against professional defenses. She is getting into the paint, she is drawing help, she is finding cutters. She is throwing players open before the defense can recover. She is delivering passes into scoring areas. You cannot spend all season asking your point guard to generate better looks when the looks being generated are already excellent. Eventually, the burden shifts. The receiver has to finish. And that is why this matters beyond Clark's individual records. She became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 700 career assists in 83 games. And according to the statistics cited in the original breakdown, she also reached that mark faster than any NBA player over the previous 30 years. That accomplishment tells you the production is historic. The missed opportunities tell you the production could be even more damaging to opponents if Indiana becomes cleaner around the rim. Those are two separate ideas, and both can be true. Clark can be historically productive, while the offense around her still has obvious room to improve. In fact, that might be the scariest version of the story. Indiana is not trying to figure out whether its lead guard can create offense. That question has already been answered. Now the question is whether everybody else can consistently turn that creation into points when the games get tighter.
And the fact of the matter is, y'all not going to beat the better teams in this league unless y'all start making y'all layups. Stephanie White, I don't want to see Aaliyah Boston doing podcasts. I don't want to see nobody doing half-court contests. We don't want to see no dogs. We don't want to see none of that, bro. If we getting close to playoff time, man, it's time to lock in. Y'all need to start making these damn layups. Y'all need to start making layups. It's ridiculous. Get down in the comments. Let me.
And this is where Stephanie White enters the conversation. The original reaction joked about canceling the distractions, skipping the half-court contests, and getting everybody into the gym for layups. Obviously, players are allowed to have lives. Nobody seriously improves because they stop doing a podcast or never bring a dog around the facility. But underneath the joke is a legitimate basketball point. The Fever are reaching the part of the season where details become identity. You do not suddenly become a great finishing team because the playoffs begin. You become one because the habits were drilled beforehand. Footwork, balance, using the correct side of the rim, finishing through contact, knowing when to go straight up, knowing when to use the glass, recognizing when a defender is too small and getting deep position instead of settling. Those repetitions look boring compared with three-point shooting contests and highlight passes, but boring possessions decide postseason games. Indiana also has to understand the psychological effect these misses can have on Clark. A great passer has to trust that making the correct read will eventually be rewarded. If teammates repeatedly miss clean opportunities, the temptation is for the ball handler to start forcing her own offense. That is when an efficient process can quietly become hero ball. And Clark already carries an enormous offensive responsibility. Indiana should be trying to make the game easier for her, not teaching her that she needs to beat two defenders and finish the possession herself because the safer pass might be wasted. The ideal version of this offense is not Clark taking every shot. It is Clark making the defense wrong no matter what it chooses. That only works when the other four players punish the attention she creates. So yes, celebrate the win. Celebrate 29 points. Celebrate 10 assists. Celebrate 700 career assists in just 83 games. But do not let the final score erase the warning sign buried inside the tape, because against a better team, the Fever might not get enough extra possessions to survive this many missed opportunities. Against a playoff defense, they might not get 10 clean looks at the rim in the first place. And against an opponent that can score efficiently on the other end, every empty trip becomes twice as expensive. Indiana has the hardest piece already. They have the player who can bend the defense. Now everybody else has to complete the job. So which side are you on? Were these blown finishes just one ugly shooting night that means nothing, or did this game expose the biggest weakness that could keep Indiana from reaching its ceiling when the postseason arrives? Get down in the comments and tell me which one you believe. And if you want more Fever breakdowns without pretending a win means everything was perfect, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with somebody who watched those missed layups and was yelling at the screen right along with us.